Hello, everybody. I am delighted to welcome you to this special edition of the European Risk Management Award. My name is Xavier Very. I am the CEO of AXA XL for Europe and Asia Pacific. We are the proud sponsor of the Rising Star of the Year category, and I would like to congratulate the finalists. They are risk professionals who have shown outstanding leadership skills despite being somewhat new to risk management. Well done to them, and I hope you will all join the award ceremony on December 11th. Good luck to all the finalists. Thank you very much.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to the Rising Star of the Year session sponsored by AXA. My name is Andrew Bradley. I recently retired from Nestle, and it's my pleasure today to introduce the award and the three finalists. Firstly, let's just take a look at the award. With this award, we are seeking to acknowledge the risk management stars of the future and someone with a fresh view of the profession. They've shown an appetite for innovation to address developing needs and challenges faced by corporates in today's rapidly changing environment. So let's introduce the finalists. Firstly, we have Rohini, and for the last 5 years, she has been the insurance manager of Vopak, a leading tank storage company based in the Netherlands. And prior to that, she worked for 10 years, mostly in claims, I believe, with Sompo Canopius. Secondly, we have Jacob, who is a senior supply chain specialist at Lundbeck, which is a Danish pharmaceutical company. And together with his colleague Eva, who isn't with us today, but I think Jacob will explain that in a moment, they've developed a new way to focus on risk management over the last 5 years. I understand that Jacob has been with Lundbeck for nearly 13 years. And finally, we have Heiko, and he's the Director of Risk Finance and Risk Transfer at Adidas in Germany. And he's been in the insurance industry since 2001 and been with Adidas for 10 years. So now I'd like to ask each of the finalists a question in order that they can better present themselves. So the first question is to Rohini. Could you describe your main objectives when you took over your role and how you achieved them?
Thank you, Andrew, also for selecting me as one of the finalists. Well, I've started my journey in insurance at the age of 19, which should be close to around 4 years ago. And my main objectives were, and probably still are, very simple: meet new people, seeing new places, and doing stuff. Well, on a more serious note, I had been in insurance on the claim side for over 10 years when I took on this role, and I always had a feeling that there was a lot to be gained on the forefront. As a claims manager, you are the last one to take decisions in a crisis, and basically the decision is to pay or not to pay. So many times I thought to myself, how could they have made this or that mistake? And I decided I wanted to find out. And now I know there are a million things that can just go wrong despite anyone's best efforts. From there, I discovered that with the insurance database, we were sitting on a wealth of information. We have the complete history of everything that has gone wrong within the company, the main drivers for these mistakes, and the exact cost of it allocated to the different stakeholders, like the operational company itself, the insurers, and third parties that might have caused an incident. Incident wise, insurance and risk is the combination of operational, safety, health, environment, and quality, and finance. The only thing that we could improve on was that we were entering information into a system without the purpose of getting the information out in a way that we could share it with other people within our company. Look, the purpose of operations is to operate. They do not have time to linger on claims. Safety, health, environment, and quality, they are always looking for ways how we can do better. No beating around the bush or shifting responsibilities. They are not concerned with liability. And finance, they have their own accounting and standards that they have to meet. IFRS standards are running their lives with no less at stake than the goodwill of potential and existing investors, lenders, and other creditors. They simply do not have time to wait for a claim to last 2 or 6 years. They need to close their financial year. And of all of these purposes and stakes, insurance has the summary information. We have been so focused in previous decades with buying insurance and claim statistics that we unknowingly gathered information very useful for the operations within our companies as opposed to just towards insurers or other risk carriers. And that is where the shift from insurance to risk comes in. Vopak is the world's leading independent tank storage company. We have built our company over 400 years and are striving to live at least 400 years more. Risk is such an important subject to us that the responsibility for it has been placed with the executive board. The executive board is advised by a risk committee instead of a risk department. The risk committee is comprised of several departments, each bringing their own speciality and knowledge base to the playing field, because risk is not a topic in itself. The philosophy of Vopak is that it needs to be part of the decision-making abilities of every person working within our company. That way it becomes culture. And embedded within your corporate culture is where you want risk as a subject to be. The go-getter attitude, we have it. Willingness to take risk, it is there. And as much as these characteristics are the drivers for a successful company, it needs to be balanced out by a fair share of what if it goes wrong? What do we do then? Without slamming the brakes on innovative ideas and opportunities. The Vopak people strategy is connecting people, grow, and explore. And see here, it is not that different from meet new people, seeing new places, and doing stuff. I did not know when I took up this job what my exact objective was, but I've discovered that connecting insurance and risk information to the several other disciplines that we have within our company is what I love to do. In closing, I would like to say that we as insurance or risk managers have the ability to bridge the gap between having data without context and having information that can lead to stability in operations.
Wow. Thank you very much, Rohini. That was very comprehensive. Thank you. And I'd like to ask Jakob if he could tell us a bit about his journey and his key learnings at his company. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew, for this question. Our journey started in 2015, where my close colleague Eva Mikes and I, as a team, was giving the ownership of the task. Prior to this point, our finance department had the ownership, as they were the contact of the insurer. Eva and I was located in two different organizations within Lundbeck and with two different backgrounds. However, the two of us had the same mindset and goal for the process, and at this point, the collaboration actually started. We are now 4 different organizations involved, having a shared strategic responsibility for the process. During the past 5 years, we have implemented several processes and tools. Every year, we have implemented 2 to 3 major improvements, which is illustrated by the stars in the flow. And we now see a strong process and a great culture. All these processes are included into annual wheel, which visualize the activities and makes it clear to everyone in the organization when to do what. The annual wheel is built into 6 major steps, and the output is a business impact analysis report and final recommendation for the board of directors. An important part of the process is the risk management workshops. Once a year, we invite key persons, specialists, stakeholders, and so on. The input from the workshop are collected and managed into one tool where we have all data, all information. So in this tool, each risk scenario, each production site, each supplier have their own risk management plan, including risk assessments, preventive measures, emergency response plans, crisis management, business contingency plans. And all these plans are including country-specific requirements, and also the Lundbeck Group policies and standards. So concerning the key learnings, which is actually the information or the thing I would like to share to everyone is what can everyone else do and benefit of looking into this and using energy into improving the risk management and business impact analysis process. The main thing for us was to ensure the ownership of source. So not only having one front person, one risk management responsible for all this, but everyone in the organization know that I have responsibility. I need to put it into our daily processes. Include people, share knowledge across sites and functions that add values. The annual process created actually discussions concerning risk mitigation, also contingencies. We saw it was a cross-functional, it was transparent, and the good thing was that it was the same process now. It's a template every year, after year, so everyone knows what to do. It adds values in terms of overview, increases the energy at the workshops. And we can actually see from 5 years ago and until now that using this and using time boxing, that the workshop that have been more effective. So we've been able to actually change it from one day to a few hours every year to focus on this. One of the other key learnings is to keep all data, all information in one tool, one place, instead of having several places to have it. And we can see the benefit of having the model in-house. It increased our transparency and improved also the quality of the decision we need to take. We built in options for simulations, and this increased our flexibility and actually initiated us to act faster in critical situations, as the COVID-19 situation this spring, when it started, when Denmark was actually locked down and most of the world. Also, this shows for our insurance program, also our insurance country, that companies that will have a strong process and systems, and the system initiated us to have virtual workshops and also do inspections or get them postponed. All in all, and the most important part of what to share is that if you can change the culture within the company, that's the important part. We got it boosted using deep engagement at all levels, efficient process, and also a clear purpose in mind. And the final statement I would like to share to everyone was, how do we actually get this mandate? The key thing is that in Lundbeck, we have a strong internal lean culture. So we're always looking at where can we get some benefits and where do we have the value. We could see the gap, the potential, we made it clear to everyone, and then we actually changed it. So thank you very much for me being able to share this knowledge to everyone.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Jakob, for that insightful presentation regarding your risk management processes at Lundbeck. Thank you. Now I'd like to welcome Heiko from Adidas. And your question is, risk insurance managers are now facing a hard market. What innovative solutions or processes have you had in mind in order to navigate these difficult times, especially in light of COVID-19? Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, for the intro and also for raising this important question. Before we start, I wanted to highlight that I try to isolate myself at home. So in case of any background noise, it may be my little one who is now highly experienced in insurance and risk management after listening to me at home for the last 9 months. Instead of showcasing the major achievements in the last months or talking about why I do deserve this award, I would like to talk about the challenges and also opportunities of the hardening insurance market. And if there is some time left, why not advertising our great profession in risk management and insurance. Before doing so, please also allow me to thank my team, manager, organization, as well as the judging panel for making me shine for a little while, being one of the finalists for the Rising Star Award. It's probably not the most pleasant topic for most of my fellow insurance risk manager colleagues, but clearly changed our professional life and respective priorities over the last 18 months. Due to COVID-19, the hardening insurance market was even further accelerated, not only for one insurance program, rather across all lines, requiring immediate actions from us. Not many insurance risk managers were confronted with this natural, I would call it, life cycle of insurance. So others in specific areas, be it pharmaceutical, automotive, are used to situations where carriers simply can't or don't want to offer the needed risk transfer options for reasonable premiums. Although most of us do understand the principle of insurance quite well, and somehow we as policyholders, to be honest, are not completely blameless. The recent months showed that risk transfer insurance solutions and just the traditional insurance market might be less relevant going forward, making alternative risk finance transfer, but also risk-bearing options essential, since otherwise we will just continue facing situations where carriers may present offers without even explaining why premiums or deductibles are going up, capacities or also coverages are actually tightening. A well-intentioned advice to all commercial insurance carriers out there that we clients do not have unlimited budgets. In particular, due to the impact of COVID-19, most of us are rather requested to find savings. So please start to communicate and manage expectations early. Help us to understand what's behind an unattractive offer. Start rebuilding the lack of credibility and integrity. Adhere to your commitments, but also rethink your underwriting and distribution strategy, as well as to think of solutions instead of products anymore. On the other side, taking this crisis and questionable approach in the insurance market as an opportunity to become a more information leader, to look into alternatives as outlined before, as well as to stay ahead of things should not be underestimated, since it may help you to increase the level of relevance in your company around risk management and insurance. What clearly helped me to navigate through this hardening market was to accept the challenge and to understand it may be an opportunity, to anticipate what may come or may be requested from carriers, since the amount of risk information and level of detail requested is higher than ever before. So be better prepared. Simply don't wait, rather manage internal expectations early. Don't shy away to challenge the in-house risk appetite strategy. Bring up innovative ideas to enable the business to grow, and put yourself in someone's shoes to understand pain points, objectives, and ideally to find a common denominator. And finally, probably also the most important part, to empower your team while showing confidence in your own and their decision, as well as showing emotional intelligence is key. Let me finish with a quote from Woody Allen I found quite inspirational. If you are not failing every now and again, it's a sign you are not doing anything very innovative. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heiko. I like the Woody Allen at the end. That's good, and it's pleasing to see that insurance market hasn't changed. Even if I've retired, it's still the same mucky business as it always has been. But perhaps we shouldn't say that if AXA are sponsoring us. Anyway, let's move on quickly. Before we get into the panel discussion with the three finalists, I'd just like to draw the audience's attention to the chat part on the right-hand side of the screen. So after we finish with the panel discussion, there'll be an open Q&A session with the audience. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to use the chat section, and we'll see if we can pick as many questions as we can up as we go along. So let's open the discussion with the finalists. So we'll ask each one a question, and then we'll open it up to the two other finalists to have a bit of a discussion. So Rohini, why do you think it's important for a risk manager to display leadership in his area of competence? And what does it mean to you, that leadership?
Thank you for the question, Andrew. To start with the last part of your question, to me, leadership is to make other people feel safe. A large part of leadership involves integrity, empathy, and ownership. We are in the problem-solving business in uncertain times. So selling our added value is easy. Nobody wants a problem on their plate. The key issue is that people outside of my line of work have to know that they can rely on me. It is my job to help them understand their needs, and they need to feel that afterwards they can solve their issues. And if that is your definition of leadership, it helps a lot if you have a sincere interest in the work that people are doing, or even look beyond it. Context is everything. You have to be able to see what people really need. And if you fail to do so, you run the risk of becoming irrelevant. The challenge is to empower people themselves, and next time they will come back to you as a returning customer with the same issue or maybe a new one.
Okay, thank you very much. Jakob, Heiko, would you have anything to add to that?
First of all, it's quite easy just to say I totally agree. But
Oh, thumbs up.
but I also see leadership as one thing that you need to be quite clear that in the organization where you actually work on both internal and also external, that everyone that you put the guidance. So you say this is the way we're gonna go. So and make it simple for everyone to understand. So that's also for me a part of the leadership, to make it simple for everyone in the organization to understand, because you have a lot of different kind of backgrounds from everyone. So it could be engineering, it could be as me, supply chain, it could be finance, it could be regulatory, it could be whoever it is. So it's quite important from a leadership perspective that you communicate in the right way.
Okay, thank you. Heiko, anything to add?
Yeah, Rohini, I have actually one question. Was there any change in light of COVID-19, how you started managing also maybe your team remotely? What was the major change and what helped to overcome the difficulties of not being able to meet in person?
There were not so many, I have to be honest, because we've invested a lot of money basically and knowledge to working at a distance and agility, and that you can work all over the world if you like. In previous years, all of our files are online in a online environment. So the only thing what changed is that I don't meet my colleagues in person anymore, which is a pity, of course. But to us as a team, I don't think it has impaired our ability to work together.
Okay.
How did you solve it?
I think it is the same for us. I mean, we, started already early, using some digital tools, but of course, the communication, especially also in light of the hardening market, it would be, better to meet in person also with the various suppliers and providers, et cetera, But we tried our best to stay connected and to, increase a little bit the frequency, to be honest,
Yes.
of just talking to each other.
Yes.
Okay, here's one for Jakob. What skills does a risk manager need to be successful in your view now and in the future? So get the crystal ball out now to see what's going to happen.
This is the truth I'm going to tell you guys. No, it's actually part of the things I actually said before. So first of all, it all depends. I would say what skills risk management should be part of everyone's work. So say whoever it is, those skills are very beneficial, because that would add value to how we look at the organization, also our risks. But at a high level, I would say it's important to be strong in having overview, very good at doing collaboration between different kind of stakeholders. The communication part, as I mentioned before, is for me very important, that you do it the right way around, that everyone understands what is our goal, what is the purpose, what does this add value to the process that we're actually using effort on risk management. Because basically it takes time, but it's important. The output is important. And then definitely know your organization. And last but not least, have passion. So if you enjoy the work, if you can see that this gives you some kind of personal benefit, then that's basically the important part.
Okay, well, that's great. And
from my point of view.
This is probably an easy one for you. It's got, what attracted you to the role of risk insurance manager? I guess at Adidas it was the discounts on the sporting equipment. That's what you've got to say, really, I guess.
Part of the story, indeed. No, joking. Honestly, when I started, I was probably rather looking for any job with decent, let's say, career opportunities in an industry which is, I would say, still, very stable. And I had never thought about the relevance and importance of risk management and insurance in a society or economy at this point in time. But what I learned is that it plays an essential role to protect people, communities, maybe after a strategy or organization that, to stay in the business when suffering from numerous threats. So risk management and insurance can certainly help to shape a little bit the future and can, make a difference if all the involved parties work together, understand and respect each other, support growth mindset and start promoting, like a diverse and inclusive culture where everybody feels basically welcome and belonging.
Okay. So we've got quite a few questions coming in from the audience, which is great. I've got one here. What part do you think technology will play in the risk insurance management in the next 10 years? Kind of a broad question. I guess as an industry, particularly insurance, the technology is very, very slow to come, and we're still in a Excel spreadsheet mode. So have you guys found anything there that makes things more efficient?
I would say that in 10 years time, definitely from my point of view, there will be more technology in this. It will be, there'll be a lot of control and management system. It will be a lot more alert based. You mentioned part of it, but that's probably part that's missing a bit and can be even more. I guess we'll be having even more cloud-based solutions where we actually are gonna not have it as internal systems, but using a lot more external system and also collaborate. So basically what we see happening in one country or one company might actually be shared with everyone else. So actually everyone can act at the same point. So share knowledge is, from my point of view, also something that could be in the future using other parts of technology.
Okay.
I don't know how you look at it.
Well, at Vopak we have a risk and insurance system. So all of our risk information is in a tool, so to speak, an app, and we can have real-time data at any given point in time. Also translated to dashboards to make it more to visualize it more to other people outside of our line of work. My big dream is to connect it to the other systems within our company. So the CRM system, the customer relationship management, and the operational incident management. It would be so great to have all of the information together, or at least to link from one system to another. So you have all of the information of all of the companies combined and all of the streams, so to speak.
I think for me, it would be probably best to connect to you both afterwards, because I think I would like to learn about your system, because we are still not necessarily using Excel files, but using kind of like a data warehouse, which is not an internal tool, rather external, and trying to, feed in all the various data from the various insurance providers. And I think analytics and data is key to be able to, take fact-based and relevant decisions going forward. I agree.
Well, that's great. If you're connecting up your competitors, but as well you're connecting up, which is fantastic, which is what it's all about. I've got following on from this, I've got a really great question here. It's, are you all lean trained, and does daily management help you reach your goals?
I would say, if I can start, I am lean trained, and that's a part of the culture within Lundbeck. That's how we actually work. So it is a part of the culture. Always look at how can you improve, but the important part is also to look into not gold plating, as I'll say. So of course we can always improve, but it also needs to add value to the work that we're actually doing. So that has also been one of the challenges, to say where to stop. Where is it good enough? Where do we actually gain value for the work that we're actually doing?
Well, I'm not lean trained. Simple as that. But to keep your eye on the ball is is the main driver of one of our jobs, I think. Because as Jacob already stated, it's when is it enough? It's very, very easy to get lost in details, so to speak, in our jobs. And at a certain point, you have to say to yourself and to your team, it's enough.
I agree. I'm also not lean trained, but I think, staying focused and, obviously to work on improvements continuously, that helps. But then to, at the end of the day, do not lose your list of priorities, right? So
That's good. Another question from the floor. I don't know whether we'll have to extend the session by an hour. We've got so many questions coming in. What accomplishments are you most proud of in your career so far?
Well, if I may start with that, I recently had a compliment, and apparently a colleague said, she said to me, "Well, Rohini, you're always in our corner and always with a smile." And I think it summarizes what my biggest success is: make other people understand insurance and risk, and make them like it.
Okay. Heiko, Jacob?
I think the biggest one was actually to be able to do something. It might sound strange, but that's one of the things that I actually appreciate within our company, is that you're able just to do things, to say, okay, I have a really good idea here. Let me try it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually be able to do it and show that it actually adds value, and everyone are able to see that adds value, the thing that we're doing. So that's probably the thing I'm proud of, that we're able to change something, and that we're able to do it and allowed to do it.
I actually agree also with Jacob, and I think for us, like internally, it is always hard, like in a sports company, to create that level of relevance. But as soon as people are starting to listen and taking ideas up and starting to think about how we can basically improve and add value, also from a risk management insurance perspective, that is already one, I would say, big achievement.
And we got a tough question in now. It's what makes you a rising star in 2020? That's kind of a nasty one, isn't it? Who'd like to try that one first?
I can start trying to answer it, but I think it was probably the overall situation, to be honest, managing, your private life, but also professional life, to find the right balance, having COVID-19, having the hardening insurance market. So it's probably the multiple pieces that came all together and trying to overcome to, at the end of the day, still, protect the financial health of Adidas. That was probably what I feel the team and I deserve, not me alone, because it is, typically more than just one person. And that is probably what I wanted to outline here.
Yeah, from my point of view, it is also linked to the COVID-19. I think what we could see, and also what I presented prior, was that actually all the work that Eva and I has done for the past 5 years actually showed in this case that the process and tools worked. We were able within our company to see what was the consequence of this one. Where do we need to set in? Do we have any problems? So that is definitely 5 years in result in one go, I'll say.
Well, to me, it's loving my job. That's a summary of it. I love to do my job, and I am very happy that I could support the company in its goal to have business as usual, because operations, they have been a little slimmed down, but not too much, and I'm very proud of that.
Good. So I got another tricky question, and this one says, what would your advice? What's your advice to senior management on how they should behave with rising stars, high potentials? I guess that's how do you manage talent, I guess. Any comments on that? That's another tricky question to answer. Any thoughts on that one?
Go ahead, Rohini. No, go ahead.
Okay. From a senior management point of view, my greatest advice would be to answer my questions. Sometimes my questions are I don't know about the culture. I don't know how you want to solve something, and I don't know what your bigger picture is. So something might seem like an uninformed idea, but that's why I'm asking questions.
I think it is probably linked to the Woody Allen statement to let people fail. That's simple.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult because it all comes down to the culture in the company. So some companies are very open. Some are maybe a bit closed, where you actually need to show what is the actual benefit on the line, bottom line on for the company. And sometimes it's very difficult to say, okay, we'd like to use this amount of hours working on risk management, but how does it add value? How does give me some money on the for the company? And say, you might not get the money now, but you might not give them or receive them later on if you don't do this. So it's quite difficult to actually do that around.
Okay. Another one. Do you all know the Crown Jewels? Is that the program on Netflix at the moment, the Crown Jewels, or not? No. Do you all know the Crown Jewels of your company, and are they well protected?
The answer from my side is yes.
Okay.
I'll say so.
I think we're probably expecting more than a yes or no answer.
Yeah, but then we're probably going to get into what it is, so I'll keep it for myself.
Okay, it's top secret. Okay, Rohini?
The Crown Jewels, I cannot name them by heart. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would say yes and no, but I think what is different here is that, my team and I are actually focusing on managing the risk. So we are not necessarily part of, automatically identifying or evaluating the risk. So it is about that communication that is quite key to be able to manage it. So yes, we are aware of it. They are all well protected? Probably, if possible, yes. If not, then I think the company set up a risk management procedure to be able, based on various matrices, to basically take conscious decisions and to take fact-based decisions around the risk appetite.
Okay, good, thank you. What can the rising stars do better than the old chaps in the industry?
I'm not going to start with that question.
Sorry?
Jacob, you take it.
I think I'll do the way around. I think it's important to have a combination, and that's right, easy to say, but also need to keep in mind that the rising star is also just coming in, so there's a lot of person with a lot of experience how to do things, and of course there's reason for doing it, and the reason for doing it the way it's actually done is the old chaps. So understanding how did we actually did it in the past, and why did we do it, can actually change the future with having the rising star adding value.
Yes, I would agree with that. It's not like because we have been doing something for 20 years that it's still the best way forward.
But it also might not be the bad way forward, the good way forward. So just it's important to understand why did we do as we did, because otherwise you can't say it's wrong or we need to do differently. So
exactly.
I think we can definitely, with a different perspective, create value and drive the quality of decisions. To be honest, it's not one group of risk managers, be it between 20 and 30 and 30 to 40. I think that combination is hopefully making a difference.
Okay.
I guess that probably leads us on to another question: is how would you like to change the workforce, workplace, and community going forward? I guess this is more related to diversity and equality.
I can, for us internally, this is, one of our, key priorities in the last recent months to really focus on creating that level of awareness. And I think that the company and the organization, they do have a responsibility to come up with, like a playground and like a framework to define what is meant by diversity, what is meant by inclusion, what is meant by equality. And I think this is basically what the organizations can definitely do to support and help, and then to also, change a little bit the world in that specific regard.
And the question was, what would I want to change? But I think to be aware of the fact that there are different sorts of people needed for your company, that this awareness, to put a little focus on it, is the best thing you can do at this moment, because what change isn't always the best solution, or so you don't have to change anything, but it's good to be aware of the fact that change might actually bring you something good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jacob, anything to add on that?
No.
Okay. Another one that's just come in is, how do you include reputation in your risk radar? That's a tricky one. It's a tough audience today.
It is. If I may take this one, reputation is something that is not so tangible. You cannot, well, the only thing you can see is your stock dropping or something. But and social media, of course, if you're on the news in a very negative way, then that's not so good. But reputation, to take it into consideration on a daily basis, I think if you do your job according to your process, your protocol, and try to be environmental friendly and connected to the communities around you, that it will contribute a lot.
Okay.
I know that, internally we, started to look into it and to support our risk owners, basically helping how to quantify it, because I think it is pretty straightforward to say, okay, look, there might be any media presence that is actually, damaging a little bit your reputation, net sales, et cetera, et cetera. So we try to come up with our colleagues from enterprise risk management to bring it to a level where people can easily go into definitions to, quantify the risk, because there is no, we try to even talk to various insurance providers, and I think it would be not that, smart from their side to open their books and to let us know how they typically calculate the risk of reputation, right? But we try to foster that communication and collaboration to also be able to take it into account.
Yeah. And I agree, it's very difficult, and I'm not sure that, to be honest, I'm not in the front person for the insurance company, but my guess is they're very difficult also to make an insurance for reputation, and it might be quite expensive. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. That was a tough question anyway.
It was.
And the next one is, if you win this award, what are you going to do next? I guess this is apart from the virtual cocktail afterward. What would you do next if you win the award?
I will probably. What did you say?
Thank the people that nominated me and my team.
Yeah, I'll most probably do the same, but I'll also raise my hands. I'll say, yeah, we did it, but I'll bring it to my close colleague, which is David, and say, we did it. And then we will bring it to the rest of the company and the organization for all the workshops and all the work we're doing to say, this is a joint effort that we're actually at this stage. And then discuss with them what is our next step, where do we want to go, which is also actually a part of the process that we're already doing. So,
Heiko, anything to add on that one?
For me, it would be also to, first recognize the team effort, but also then to invite, my team also to come up with, again, with ideas, and hope that we can bring it then or turn it into anything practical going forward.
Okay. I just got one last question, and we'll probably bring the Q&A to an end because you must be exhausted having been asked questions for the last 45 minutes. Do you think is communication really the underestimated challenge in risk management, especially in this hard market? And how do you address this? Any tips for your colleagues?
I would say it is to basically open your door. What we've seen is, again, in the journey that we've been in, the more we collaborate with our insurance broker, insurance company, and our suppliers, and share knowledge and ask them to say, what are we going to do in these situations, the better we get. So from an insurance perspective, then we actually are showing them that we are in full control of our situation. So don't hide anything. Share.
Okay. Heiko, anything else?
Open and honest communication and fostering, like a dialogue and not to point out what was going wrong. I think rather to phrase it in a, very positive way. And I think communication in light of COVID-19 from a pure insurance risk management point of view is underestimated because it was just not existing.
No. Rohini, anything, final comments?
Well, being transparent about what you do, why you do it, explain why you do it, make people understand that it is necessary, that insurance and risk is a necessary evil to most people, is my main driver for communications.
Okay.
And to stop thinking from an insurance perspective or a risk perspective only, to flip the communication.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having put up with this session, been interrogated for the last 45 minutes. I think it's been very instructive, been very open, good communication, which is great. So I'd like to thank all three of you and wish you all the best for Friday. And I have to remind everybody that they should log in on Friday, the 11th at 4:30 Central European Time if you want to know who the winner or the winners of the various awards are going to be. I'd also like to thank the audience for their participation and their fantastic questions. Some of them I thought were rather challenging, but I think you batted them off exceedingly well. I'd like to thank the AXA again for being the sponsor, and also recognise the FEMA team, the back office team that have helped put this session together, particularly Veronica and Letitia and all the other people behind. I've reminded you to log in for the session on Friday for the winner. And I think there's one final point is that apparently you can still vote for the COVID-19 Outbreak Award. So apparently if you go online, you can still do that, which is fantastic. Other than that, thank you all very much. And I wish you a good evening and all the best for next week. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.